Well, this story goes back to 1988, and I was just, get this straight, I was legally separated, so I was allowed to date legally. And but the dating process back then, there's no online dating, so the first 3 or 4 calls I got were from my ex-wife's friends wanting to fix me up, and that's no good. And, I knew better than that. And then I had to buy linens for my new bed, and I dated the linen girl who sold me the linens. That was not bad, actually. It was kind of fun. And I leased cars for a living, and this nice lady comes in to lease a car from me. And I have an advantage right away because I'm filling out a credit application, so I know a lot about her. So check, she's single. She was pretty. She made a good living. She was a fundraiser, and just a side note, those are called beggars, by the way, fundraisers. But anyway, she was a beggar, and she wanted to lease a Toyota, so that's a good thing, check on that. But it was a stick shift, and nobody drives stick shifts, so that was like an uncheck, except my son and her, I guess. So anyway, so I leased her the car, and the day she came to pick it up, I took her out to lunch. I thought that was a nice thing. And we had a nice conversation, and it was funny. It was one of those years. I happen to be Jewish, and one of those years that Hanukkah came really, really early, and not many people really knew that. And she wished me a happy Hanukkah. So I said, "How did you know?" And she said, "Well, she's Jewish too." I said, "That's nice." It wasn't neither here nor there, but that's nice. And later that week, I got a call, and she invited me to escort her to a fundraising event that she was holding. So I joined her, and we had a nice time there. And I guess about a week later, some friends of mine who had a timeshare in St. Martin asked me if I'd like to go along. I could bring a guest. Now, I don't know if it's legal to call a human being a guilty pleasure, but you got to use your imagination here. So well, you shouldn't laugh at that. So I'm figuring in my mind, it's working really well at the time, that I have a better chance of getting lucky by bringing my own luck than going to St. Martin and getting lucky. That's how the whole process went. So I invited her, and she decided to come along with me, which I thought was great. And we didn't really know each other that well, except the credit application. And she got a Toyota with a stick shift in it, which I thought was, nobody drives stick shifts. You know, God made automatic because they're better. So anyway, we got to St. Martin late in the afternoon. And if anyone's ever been there, there's not a lot to do there. It's lovely water, there's gambling, and that was one of the big attractions. And there's a nice pool, and there's a nice hotel. So we're there. We got to dinner that night. And after dinner, I said, well, anyway, let me back up a second. We're out at the pool, and this other lady, she was a model at one point, I guess. She owned a ready-to-wear high-line dress manufacturing company. She was of Romanian background, and she lived in Montreal. So we'll call her Miss Romania for now. So anyway, after dinner, I decide, let's go gamble. And Miss Toyota tells me, well, she doesn't gamble. I said, well, you don't have to. That probably saved me some money. I'll gamble, you can watch. She goes, no, I don't go in casinos. I didn't know about this about her, but I said, well, what are you going to do? Because I'm going to go gamble. So she said she's going to go back to the room and read. I said, that's great. So I'm in the casino, and I'm at the crap table, and I'm sort of leaning over the crap table, throwing the dice. And all of a sudden, I feel a warm body lying on top of me. Literally lying on top of me. It was Miss Romania, by the way. But I'm a gentleman, and I brought a date along, and I'm not going to, drop somebody. But we did hang out till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went back to the room and sound asleep, snoring. So it was only the first night. It was a 4-night weekend, so it didn't really matter. So the next day, we're back out at the pool, and Miss Romania's there chatting me up again, and I better get out of this area here. And Miss Toyota says, let's go sailing. So I said, you know, I used to be a sailor in the United States Navy, but I don't know how to sail. That's a whole different kind of sailing. She goes, oh, I do. I said, well, that's great. So I rented a 16-foot sailboat. And if anyone else has been to St. Martin, there's something called a trade wind. So we're in the 16-foot sailboat, in the trade winds, doing like 20 knots across the harbor. And I'm sitting on the side. She's sailing. She's doing a great job, by the way. I'm sitting on the side, leaning so the boat doesn't flip over and stuff. And I'm sort of watching ahead and watching behind. Now, we're in the harbor doing 20 knots in this sailboat. And we seem to be heading for a yacht. So I'm sort of sitting sideways, watching back to her and watching the yacht and watching the sail. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. And right before we hit the yacht, she crosses herself. So, being the kind of show that this is, I gave the All-American WTF and went back to made a couple of telephone calls. I had the taxi take her right to the airport. I did have a limousine pick her up back in, and my relationship began with Miss Romania, which was a little GOQ, which is geographically out of the question. I had a lovely weekend.